Genesis chapter 15. Abram's vision. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. Abram promised an heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. The covenant renewed. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land, to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, where shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And he took the fowls, came down, and when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. Abram's deep sleep and vision. And when the sun was going down, and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down, and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, and a burning lamp that passed between these pieces. In the day the Lord made covenant with Abraham, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, for the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The Canaanites, the Kenizzites, and the Cadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Geshurites, and the Jebusites. Okay, so, okay, so a quick overview of this one. I would say take a look at verses 1, 4, 5, 7, and 9, and also 18. 18 through 21, actually. God made a lot of promises, and before he made promises, the first thing that he said was, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. So before he even told him the promises, he said, remember who I am. You know who I am, so remember who I am. Okay, now let me tell you what I got for you. And then he says, And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. Abram said, God, actually, you know what? We missed verse 2. It says, And Abram, okay, no, we right. Okay, because Abram asked a question, and this is God answering. Okay. And God said, listen, you're going to have seed of your own, and they're going to come from you directly. Your seed, baby. It's going to be your seed, okay? So don't be concerned about that. And then also he said, look now, and he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven. Like God brought him forth. Come on, y'all. Come on. Thank you. Look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. If you can count them, I want you to look at the heaven. I want you to see how many stars is in the sky. And then you could try to count them if you want to. You could try. I want you to try. That's why I'm telling you to look up there, because that's how much seed of yours is going to cover this land. How many heirs you will have, okay? He said you're going to have you a kingdom, baby, because that's a lot of stars. That's more than a village, okay? That's a kingdom. So, boom, next it says the covenant renewed, okay? He said, I'm your shield, don't worry about nothing. You're going to have your own heirs, okay? And it's going to be a lot of them. So the next thing he says is, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it. So not only did God remind him exactly what he did, remember who I am, right? So not only did God yet again remind him, he also said, this is all yours. Not only are you going to have a lot of seed, but it's your land, baby. I keep giving you land. You're welcome. You don't need the space. Verse 9, and he said unto him, take me, y'all, verse 9 is offering. It says, God said unto him, take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. So he's saying, this is exactly what it is that I want you to put on the altar for me. Remember, Abrams already built altars, and this is one of the things that God is asking him to sacrifice. So, okay, this is not something he has to work on, nothing he has to build. This is just, I need you to go and get this, then I want you to put it on the altar, and then I want you to give it up to me. That's it. Not a building project, none of that. Go get this and put it on the altar. That's what I'm asking for. Okay. And then lastly, I would say verse 18. And it says, in the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, for the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river of Euphrates. Y'all, and then it goes down to list the people that are within the land, which of course, God, listen, let me come back. God said, I got so much land for you. This one of them places I'm talking about, but I got another place for you too. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, guys. I'll see you in Genesis chapter 16. Mwah.